All right. Harsha and I both built this NFL play generator. We built this because for those that know the NFL, all the coaches make the decisions about what play they're going to run and what their players are going to do on the field. Basically, before every play they run, they get a play called in. And that is only based off a human intuition, human experience, and the experience level of the coach. But as we heard from Professor Andy this morning, there's a lot of insights we can gain from data and that's just an untapped area of the NFL of using that data to call plays. So we wanted to see where in the data we could look at and see what works well in certain situations and how do we leverage that to be predictive about running smart plays. So what we did is we looked at historical data from 2024, found like 40,000 data points, and used a machine learning algorithm to train a model based on different situations, including what down it is, how many yards you have left for a first down, where you are on the field, and we can just show real quick. So, for example, it might be 1st and 10, and let's just say the second quarter, you want to run like a shotgun play, and it'll give you different options. And there's work that needs to be done, but it should give you it suggests based on what was successful in the data, a deep pass on 1st and 10. So you can see maybe in a different situation, 3rd and 1, it may suggest a run play. So essentially, we use the data to suggest different plays to run, and you can see how this could be improved in the future. And Harsha can talk more about what that looks like.
Yeah, so with all this stuff, like context really matters. So what we mostly use for this hack, just because it was quick, was just numerical data for like the first down yardage, the distance to go, and things like that. But without taking into account like the defensive tendencies, like whether the defense is stacking the box, which means they're putting all the players in the middle, or they're backing off, like all those different contexts would have to be added in order to get like a more accurate picture. And then play sequencing also depends on what you did before and what you plan to do after. So we'd also have to store each of the previous plays throughout the course of the game to get a more accurate picture of the play sequencing. So the next logical step would be to store each of these plays and then use those previous plays as an input as well as the current input. So that would probably be our logical next step.
Yeah. Any questions? Yep.
So in the Super Bowl, I think it was the left guard with like a turnstile.
Yeah.
How would you take the
We're gonna move the center. We're gonna move the center.
yeah, move the center. So how would you just in the future with things like that, play into this model or?
Yeah, so that would go back to like the context portion of the game. So if one guy's like getting beat, or if the left side of the line is being stacked by the defense, because Seattle picked on the left side because they knew it was 2 rookies. So context like that would have to be added to your model. So if like the previous plays, like we mentioned, if we had tracked those, that would help add context to the next play. So you would obviously not call like a long distance pass situation when you know your left side of the line is getting beat up.
And in addition, I think it could be expanded past just play calling, right? There's a lot of coaching decisions that go into calling a game. So at halftime, coaches may go back to the locker room and just like get to their clipboards and say like, what did we see this half? Instead, can we use data to say like, do we need to make a substitution? Do we need to change our, double team that person or whatever that might be? So how do we use data to make that decision? I think that could be expanded from here.
Could you just do this to try to maybe arbitrage, like getting into like minute-to-minute markets, right? So right before a play is actually run, you could potentially run this and try to figure out based on the alignment of the teams, like what the success of whatever or something happens.
For sure. Yeah, like I know, like a common bet might be like, what's the first play in the Super Bowl gonna be, or like, who's gonna be the first to score or whatever. So I think that's like totally could be a use case for this.
Yeah, but I mean, you can do it to the last second and see like, okay,
Right.
so who's likely to score right now?
Right.
And then figure out like, what your expected value is out of any given strategy.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
I guess like one other thing I would add is if anybody's like caught like a Thursday night football stream, you can switch over on Amazon to like their next gen stats view, which shows things like that where who's expected to score, what formation they're lined up in. So it's definitely like people are exploring that field right now. So if you do have some time to kill on a Thursday, it's a good.
Anything else?
Yeah, I think like a lot of these AI tools that you guys are making, it's like in like professional football at the highest level, they have like 30 guys who do this, but like at collegiate levels and at high school levels, especially like Texas, and they pour a lot of time into their whole like
Right.
like coordinating team. It's like that's where this will really shine.
Right. For sure. Thanks, guys.